It was the deadliest pandemic of the 20th century, killing over 50 million people and infecting 450 million more. It killed indiscriminately, with death rates among healthy adults nearly as high as those for the young and elderly, and it brought down average life expectancy in the United States by 12 years. It was the 1918 influenza epidemic, also known as the Spanish flu. Hello, my name is James and welcome back to Super Easy History, the channel where today we'll answer the question, how bad was the Spanish flu? But first, don't forget to go down below and hit the subscribe button and the bell to make sure that you get notified about our next history video. The Spanish flu began to spread towards the end of World War I, with the very first cases appearing in the fall of 1917. But strict press censorship designed to maintain civilian morale in the warring nations prevented most media outlets from reporting on the outbreak. However, Spain was a neutral nation, so its press was free to describe the virus and its effects in vivid detail. Even their king became violently ill. All this made it seem as if the disease was only affecting Spain, which is why it came to be called the Spanish flu. As for where the disease actually originated, even today nobody knows for certain, though it probably wasn't Spain. Strong contenders include the United States, which had its first cases of the flu in Kansas in early 1918, as well as the United Kingdom and China. The flu came in three stages, the first during the spring of 1918 and the second during the autumn of that year, while the third lasted from the winter until it died out in the summer of 1919. By far, the most deadly of the three stages was the autumn of 1918, which claimed over half of the flu's victims. Before then, the disease had really just been a new incarnation of the seasonal flu, albeit a particularly powerful and contagious strain. But a mutated version of the virus was spread quickly by troop movements for World War I, resulting in the calamitous second wave. While the flu wasn't necessarily caused by the war, it was certainly made worse by it. The unhygienic close quarters of the trenches, which held millions of exhausted and often malnourished men, made for the perfect conditions for the disease to spread like wildfire. Infected soldiers then brought it home with them as they left fronts on leave or for medical treatment. Media censorship left millions unprepared for what was to come, but even after censorship was lifted, newspapers didn't always print the most helpful advice, with many serving only as advertisements for tonics, medicinal waters, and other supposed magical cures for the flu. To be fair, real doctors weren't too much more helpful, though not for lack of effort. Modern antibiotics wouldn't be invented for another 10 years, so medical professionals were left to prescribe high doses of aspirin, quinine, a malaria drug prepared with arsenic, and some even advised smoking to clean the lungs. Many regions also suffered from poor medical coverage, as doctors and nurses had already been sent away to treat wounded soldiers. The only effective ways to fight the outbreak were maintenance of good hygiene and isolation or quarantines of infected or potentially infected individuals. But in many places, these measures were implemented only half-heartedly, or not at all. One military camp in the US, Fort Riley, put all of its infected individuals inside of an aircraft hangar and went from 1 to 100 cases of the flu in a single day. By the time of the Versailles Peace Conference, which began in January 1919, the most destructive phase of the Spanish flu was over. But even still, millions of individuals were still becoming infected and dying of the disease. Not even world leaders were safe, as the American President Woodrow Wilson and the British Prime Minister David Lloyd George both became ill as the virus ran rampant through Paris. So how bad was the Spanish flu? Well, with a lack of medical knowledge and antibiotics, mass movement of people all over the planet due to World War I, and just the sheer deadliness of this specific strain of the flu, all of which culminated in roughly 1/3 of the planet's population becoming infected, with a death rate of 10 to 20%, along with the horrific economic damage which accompanied that and affected millions more, it was the perfect storm. But it could never happen again, right? If you enjoyed this video and want to see more just like it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right in the middle of your screen. Also, don't forget to check out more of our content through one of the thumbnails to the left. And as always, I've been James and thank you for watching Super Easy History.